All right, hey guys, Chris Kirkpatrick back here with you for Module 6, where we're going to start diving into financial structure. And if you recall, back to week 1, all the way back to week 1 at this point in time, I talked a lot about the importance of financial structure. I got into a lot about the Life 180 pyramid. And if you recall the Life 180 pyramid, it was all about financial structure, and so much so. And if you recall everything that I went through, it probably didn't make a lot of sense. It probably clicked, and you probably said, wow, that's logical, that makes sense, kind of common sense. And there's a lot of problems with what's going on in the world with people's financial structure in their lives. And I'm a big believer that one of the reasons we are in the position we are in right now as a nation, as a world and whatnot, it has to do with the way people are structuring their financial lives, right? People back in the 60s and 70s and before didn't have the debt that we have now because debt wasn't as accessible as it is now. And unfortunately, as a species, we kind of have this immediate gratification affinity where we want what we want and we want it now. And the reality is that obviously that's a little bit self-defeating, a little bit self-destructive. And so this module, this week, you're going to spend a lot of time figuring out where you are, right? And figuring out what's going on, how your life is structured right now. We've gone through kind of talking about an overview. We've talked about your money personality. We've talked about your debt. We've hopefully really gained a lot of control over whatever debt you have. If you didn't have a lot of debt, I even showed you how you can just be more efficient in your life, and just different things to think about when it comes to spending and your finances and your money and all that stuff. And now we're going to talk to you, okay, we've found money, we've recaptured money, you've created new habits, you're tracking everything, you're measuring everything, you're running your life like a business. So now, what do we do? How do we structure it all? So the next 2 weeks really are going to be all about structuring your financial life, figuring out actually step by step, talking about how to get there, how you can set your life up, things to think about, incremental steps that you're going to have to take as you move forward, because the one thing I can promise you at this point in time is you're not going to be able to do it like overnight. It's not going to be one of those snap your fingers and you're good to go. You're really going to have to just realize that it's little stepping stones, right? You're not going to leap and take leaps and bounds and see huge differences. This is something that could take you anywhere from 6 months to a year to 2 years to 3 years to 5 years, depending on you, depending on your motivation, depending on your resources and how much money you were able to recapture and how disciplined you are with that money that you recapture. That's going to be obviously a big factor in you accomplishing your goals. If you recall, I went over the Life 180 pyramid back in week 1, video 5. You can go back and refer to it if you want to go back into it. I don't know that you're going to need to, because I'm going to get into it in a lot more detail. We're going to break it down into videos, but this is going to be just a quick refresher. Not going to spend a lot of time on this video. It's going to go pretty quickly. But what I want to do is I just want to get you back to the Life 180 pyramid. And now, if you remember, you have to build your life in stages, right? That having the foundation of safety is important, right? So making sure that you have this foundation of safety, because the bottom line is you could have all sorts of money up here in high risk stuff, but the bottom line is if you don't have the safety there, that can all come crumbling down. Just like a house, I'd rather have a shack built on a stone foundation than a castle built in sand. Why? Because the castle may look good for a very short period of time, but it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when that castle comes crumbling down, because the bottom line is the sand is just not built to hold it. So if you don't have a foundation, it's just not going to sustain. You're just going to notice that, yeah, you may feel good, you may feel stable, you may feel secure, you may feel successful for a couple of years, but once again, I've said how many times now, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep that matters, and it's how long can you operate inside of a system, right? My question is, can you operate inside of a system to get to where you want to go, to create the lifestyle of your dreams, to create the life that you love? And if you're not right now, I'm going to show you the system. That's what I want this Life 180 pyramid to be, is the beginning stages of a system for you to operate inside of when it comes to thinking about, okay, where do I save? How do I save? When should I invest? What should I invest in? And if you're looking for specifics, I could tell you, I do a lot of coaching personally when it comes to that outside of this, and you can check out my links on my website when it comes to my personal coaching offerings, but that's something you can connect with me on offline if you're interested. However, when it comes to this, building your foundation of safety is important, right? Only then can you get into more medium to long-term risk investments. Long-term, I guess when I say medium to long-term, I mean risk as far as the types of investments that you're going to get into. But what I'll say to this is the key overlying factor is you have to know what you're doing, right? Know what you're doing. And what I mean by that is don't ever put your money into anything you don't understand. I mean, you're probably getting sick of me saying that. You're probably getting sick of hearing me say that. But it's so essential, right? I mean, Warren Buffett became Warren Buffett because he understands what he's doing. I've said it before. He didn't get rich by investing in the stock market. He didn't get rich by speculating in stocks, in the Dow, in the S&P 500. But the challenge is a lot of people look at Warren Buffett and they go, wow, he's one of the richest men in the world. How did he do it? He's the richest investor in the world by far. The other people like Bill Gates, they built their companies. Warren Buffett built his company on investing. And so he didn't build his wealth by just investing in the stock market. He built his wealth by buying companies, right? And so what I mean by that is he knows what he's talking about. He researches. He's just not buying stocks and letting them sit, and he's not diversifying. He's not doing all the classic things that you've been told you need to do to succeed, right? He is going out and he's studying. He's keeping his money safe, and he's going out and he's doubling down. He's going all in. He's making sure that when he finds an opportunity, he's going for it. He's not gonna look back. He's not gonna have any regrets. He's just gonna go for it, and he's gonna make sure he does what he needs to do to make that succeed. So what I mean by this is I'm gonna show you a way. I teach people to avoid the stock market casino. Why? Because it's unpredictable. Why? Because it's out of your control, and you should never invest in anything you don't know, anything that's unpredictable, and anything that you don't have control of. And so by doing this, by doing what I suggest for you, you build your foundation of safety. Why? Because it gives you protection. I'm gonna write PROT for protection, right? It gives you protection, and it gives you access to capital. It gives you access to a rainy day. You're protected in case anything happens to you. It gives you access to money, capital for opportunity. So if any opportunity flies at you, if you're really into the stock market, awesome, go nuts. I'm into it. Like, everybody, I don't want you to think I'm anti-stock market. The stock market can be good if you are somebody who studies it and you are into it. There's a lot of people that make millions and millions and millions of dollars in the stock market. It's not something that I think everybody should be in. Just like I don't think everybody should open a restaurant, but you know, there's some people that open restaurants. However, how many restaurants fail? How many people just are in love with the idea of having a restaurant, and so they go open a restaurant and then it fails, right? Over 92% of restaurants fail. That's just a disturbing number, right? And that happens because people just kind of get into it emotionally. They do it because they want a business, or maybe they like cooking or whatever, and they get into it and then it fails and they don't know what to do. And so I'm gonna say this is that it gives you protection, it gives you access to opportunity. So I don't care what that opportunity is. Maybe that opportunity for you is a business. Maybe it's a real estate. Maybe it's stocks. Maybe it's fixing and flipping cars. Maybe it's fixing and flipping houses. Maybe you get involved in some kind of turnkey investment. Maybe you learn how to buy tax lien homes. Maybe you, whatever it is, maybe you invest in a friend's, you're a silent partner in business and you get a good kick out for a return. But the bottom line is, invest in stuff that you know, invest in stuff that you have control of, invest in something that you understand, because when you put your money in the market, you better understand it. And the challenge with that is let me reiterate, I'm not anti-stock market, I'm anti-mutual funds, because mutual funds are wealth killers. And if you can go out and look, I'm telling you, find somebody you respect. And I think most people respect Warren Buffett's ideas. And I'll tell you right now, he doesn't like mutual funds. You know, he doesn't. And there's most successful people in the world, Robert Kiyosaki, he'll tell you, don't buy mutual funds. It's the surest way that you will not achieve your goals. You go out and buy mutual funds and you will run into problems. So that's all I could tell you about that. And so what I'm gonna do the next couple videos this week, I'm gonna cover a lot of myths. We're gonna talk about what do you do? What steps can you take to build up your financial pyramid? And when should you be expecting to see what results? And how do you focus? Where do you save? What do you do in the process? And that's what this week's gonna be about. And that will then entail and run into Module 7, which is building your abundance bank, which really is how we're gonna talk about where to put your money and how to save your money, what you can expect, and what variables to think about when you're trying to build up your foundation of safety. That's gonna be next week. Module 7, your abundance bank. So super excited to get into this with you guys, and I know this moves a little bit slowly, but I'm promising you right now that it's extremely important stuff, that this may be one of the most essential things, because I use the pyramid example because it's the most stable structure in the world, right? And the most stable structure in the world, I'd like to set my life up as stable as possible, because when you're stable, you can last for thousands of years. And it's not just about us, folks. It's not just about us. It's about our kids. It's about the future. We have to leave the world better than we found it. And if I could show you a way that guarantees that if you just follow my system, that on a guaranteed basis, your life would be better 30 years from now than it is today, that you'll have more opportunity to start your business, to invest in yourself, to leave the world better than you had it today, to be able to enjoy life, have a higher quality standard of living than you have today, and be able to leave more for people that you love, whether it's business partners or family members or churches or community organizations or anything. So that's what it's all about, is leaving the greatest impact and making your mark in the world. And so until next time, live abundantly, live efficiently, live Life 180.